8.9 Graphs of linear inequalities. Now we're going to work with inequalities in two variables. For instance, 2x minus 3y less than 6. To graph this linear inequality in two variables, we need to first treat this like an equation, linear equation, 2x minus 3y equals 6, and graph the line. So I'm going to change this to slope-intercept form, and we get y equals 2/3 x minus 2. As you can see, the slope y-intercept is -2, so here's my point, and then I will have to shift 2 units up and 3 units to the right to get my other point. Now this would be my graph for this line. However, I need to think about whether I should make this line dotted or solid. To determine that, I will need to go back to the linear inequality in two variables and look at my inequality sign. I realize that it's a less than sign without the little line below. Then it should be a dotted line. And then if it's a greater than sign, it's also a dotted line. But if you have a little line which represents equal below the inequality, then it will be a solid line. So in this case, we have the dotted line as shown in the picture. Now we need to determine the solution of a linear inequality in two variables. So a solution, an easy solution to work with would be 0, 0. And I'm going to call this the 0, 0 test. And I'm going to sub it into the inequality to see if it satisfies the condition. 0 less than 6. Yes. So 0, 0 happens to be a point in this graph of the linear inequality in two variables. So I will have to shade all the solutions to the left of the dotted line. And we again call this the graph of the linear inequality in two variables, which is a set of points in a coordinate plane that represent all the inequalities solutions. And again, we refer to this as the half plane. And we use the 0, 0 test to determine if we should color the left side or the right side. Now I'm going to repeat the process in more detail. Okay. Graphing linear inequalities. Step 1. You first find the equation of the boundary line by replacing the inequality symbol with an equal sign. Okay. And then we'll graph the equation. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take y greater than or equal to 2x plus 4. I'm going to let that equal to y equal to 2x plus 4. And I'm going to graph this line. So I know my y-intercept is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And my slope is 2 over 1. So I need to shift up 2 units and shift right 1 unit. To find my other point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my other point will be 1, 6. This point will be 4. And I can draw my line. As you can see, my line is solid because it's a greater than or equal sign. We have a greater than equal sign. And now I need to find out if I should color in the left hand side or the right hand side. So step 2, I'm going to use the test the point 0, 0 to see if it is a solution of the inequality. If graph equals y equals kx, we need to use a different point. I will show you this in a bit. So I'm going to sub in 0, 0. 0 greater than 2 times 0 plus 4. 0, 0 plus 4. This does not make any sense. So 0 cannot be greater than 4. So 0, 0 is definitely not a solution of this inequality. So we need to shade the left hand side. We cannot include a 0. Okay, but what if you have a graph that goes through the middle, the origin? Then you'd be like, oh, of course 0, 0 is one of the solutions. So in this case, you need to pick you need to pick a different point. So you can either use 1, 0, and if 1, 0 is not a solution, then you would color the left hand side. And if 1, 0 is a solution, you color in the right hand side. So here, step 3, I have illustrated step 3 here. If the point 0, 0 is a solution, you shade the half plane that contains 0, 0. If not, then you shade the other half plane, which is what I did here. The other half. Graphing inequalities with one variable. Again, we still graph the inequality. First, graph the line of the inequality. 1, 2, 3. But I noticed that this is a less than sign without the little line on the bottom, so I need to make this dotted. And it happens to be less than 3, so I need to shade the left hand side. And here, again, I will just graph the line first, which is y equals -2. So this is must be down here. So and then I have to keep it solid because it's a greater than or equal sign, and I need to shade the top half because it wants it to be greater than or equal to -2. So this is a set of solutions of the inequality y greater than or equal to -2. Okay, let's practice. Graph an inequality in a coordinate plane. Okay, again, I'm going to rewrite this in slope-intercept form. I'm going to first graph that line, or if it's dotted or solid, it should be dotted because there's no line on the bottom. Negative 1 over 2x plus 3. So 1, 2, 3 is my slope. I'm sorry, my y-intercept. And then I need to shift 1 unit down and 2 units to the right to get my other point. So I have 2, 2, and 0, 3. And again, it has to be dotted because, and I'm going to do the 0, 0 test. 0 plus 2 times 0 is 0 is not greater than 6. So 0, 0 is not a solution. So I need to shade in the right hand side. Here we go with x greater than or equal to -1. So again, let's first graph the solid line, because greater than or equal sign. So the solid line will be x equals -1. And then we need to shade to the right because we want all the solutions greater than and equal to -1. So this would be solution. And for this one, graph would be a dotted line because it's a less than or equal sign. And we want everything in the bottom. Because everything, all the y values need to be less than 3, so I shaded the bottom. Okay, let's do a word problem. You have 100 pounds of clay to use for making bowls and vases. You need 5 pounds of clay for each bowl and 2 pounds for each vase. Write an inequality describing the possible number of bowls and vases that you can make. So I'm going to let x equals clay and y equals vase. So my inequality will be 5x plus 2y, and you have 100 pounds of clay to use for making bowls and vases. So the most you can use is 100 pounds of clay for both items. So this should be our inequality. And we're gonna, part B asks you to graph an inequality from part A. And I'm going to change this equation, this inequality, into an equation to graph the line. So 2y equals -5x plus 100. Y equals -5 over -5 over 2x plus 50. So my y-intercept is 50. Could do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So maybe it's right here. And I'm going to have to shift down 5 units. Let me make this bigger. Shift down 5 units. It's going to probably be around here. And shift right 2 units. And I'm going to just let this be 1, 2. The increments don't have to be the same for the x and the y axis. It's okay. So 2 could maybe it's around right here. So we're gonna maybe my graph. Okay. And it's a solid line because of the greater than and equal sign. And I'm gonna do the 0, 0 test. 0, 0. Yes, 0 is part of the solution, so this should be your graph. And give 3 possible combinations of bowls and vases that you can make. Let's see, if you produce no bowls or no, you make a correction here. There should be bowls. If we make no bowls, meaning x is 0, If x is 0, then y must be 50. To make 50 vases. So 0 bowls, 50 vases. And when you make 0 vases, you can get 20 bowls. And if we were to find a third combination, maybe we can let y equals 30 vases. Okay, so 5x plus 2, 30 less than 100. Then 5x, 2 times 30 is 60, 100 minus 60 is 40. So x will be, we're gonna have 8 vases if you make 30 bowls. So then we can write this as, another combination would be 8 bowls, 30 vases. 1, 2, 3. 3 possible combinations.